I wanted to talk to you now about variable scope. This is something that causes a lot of confusion. It's always asked in exam questions and is not that well understood, the scope of variables. So we'll start here with a Python script. All three of these scripts, the Python, the Lua and the C#, I've put on my Pastebin account so that you can download them and have a play with them, and I'll put the links for them in the description. But let's start with Python. So what I've done here is I've created a variable which I've called global demo variable, and it's just equal to hello world. So it's a string variable and it's just got hello world written in it. Now, to my mind, global means that it's available anywhere within this entire script. So wherever you put it, that variable is able to be read and written to. Python doesn't agree with me. So again, we've got a main function which runs this one, and that runs the Python scope demo. And I've commented out some lines just to show you the stages here. So when you first run this, as it is here, this will run Python scope demo, and Python scope demo will print out the contents of global demo variable, which of course is hello world. Now, because I've commented the next line, it's going to do exactly the same thing again and print out global demo variable, which again is hello world. I've created a local demo variable inside this function. So any variable that you declare inside a function should be local to this function. In other words, as soon as the function finishes, the variable is deleted, it's not available anymore. So let's just run this to make sure that it's doing what it's supposed to do. So we'll fire that up with Python. There we go. So we've got hello world twice, and this is a local string variable. So here is our first one. Print that one there. Let's just reduce the size of this slightly and bring that one across. There we go. So the first print global demo variable, which is equal to hello world, comes here. Then we've got a second print global demo variable, so of course it's going to print exactly the same thing. And then we've got a local one which we've declared here, and we're printing it out, which is this is a local string variable. So far so good, no problems there. Now this is what I would like to do. I would like to uncomment that. Let's just close this off, so that when we run this again, we will be able to change the contents of our global demo variable. It's declared in the margins here. There's nothing, it's not inside a function, it's not inside a loop. This should be a global variable. In other words, we can refer to it anywhere and change its value. Those of you who've already tried this at home will know exactly what's going to come up next. So we'll run that in Python. Sorry, I didn't save it. Let me just do that. Save, right, run again. So run with Python, bang, crash. All the errors. Local variable, global demo variable, referenced before assignments. What utter rubbish is that? It's just printed the damn thing out. How can it tell me that it's not even referenced? This is another reason I hate Python. So let's close that off and we'll try and fix it. Python has a kind of a get round for this, and you have to do this. You have to use the global keyword inside a function that uses a global variable. How stupid is that? Then you can change that to goodbye and it will print. So I'll save that and then we'll run it again. Run with Python. There we go. This time it's worked. So we had hello world here, then we changed it to goodbye, and because we included this global demo variable thing up here, it allowed us to change it. So in other words, without that, this is read only. Now it's changed it to read write. And then of course it says goodbye, and then it does the same with our local string variable. The next line I'm going to deal with down here, let me close that off, is this is logical and obvious. If you now try and print after you have used this function here and you move to the next line, so we call the function and then we move to the next line, local demo variable doesn't exist anymore because it existed inside the function where it was created. Now it's no longer there. So of course you would expect that to crash. So let's save that and we'll get the run with Python, and sure enough, local demo variable is not defined. So that's okay. You can see I've got uncomment this line to see the error of your ways. So that's okay, we can accept that. So just to summarize, a global or apparently global variable declared in Python is not truly global because you have to use this keyword here. This is to me complete and utter nonsense. Right, let's move on. We've got exactly the same thing now in Lua. Again, there's a bit of description here which you can read in your own good time if you download the file. Now, Lua by default uses this local keyword against every declaration of variable. So this is going to confuse you even more. We've got a global demo variable called hello world, but it's been specified as local. Well, what that means is that this variable is local to the whole of the script. So this genuinely is a global variable for this script, but I can't access this one from another script like this one. So this kind of makes more sense. You can run this without that word local, it won't spoil it at all, but it's good practice to use the word local in front of every variable where you can. So this one runs similarly. We've got a main function. This one runs the Lua scope demo, which is this one, and it will print the global demo variable. Then we're going to change it, global demo variable equals goodbye, which you can't do in Python because it's read-only. And then we're going to print the new value. Then we're going to create a local demo variable inside the function, and so this won't be available down here theoretically because we've not created that we've created it inside this function, but it's should therefore not be available down here. But this one will not cause a crash. It produces something a little bit more interesting. This one, because I'm not using a imported file, should run from my already set up Lua thing here. Yes, it has. I'll just bring that over to the other screen here. Right, now this is an interesting one. Print global demo variable, which of course contains hello world, is done here. Then we change it to goodbye, which unlike Python doesn't cause a crash, and then we print out our global demo variable again, so it's now printing out goodbye. We're then creating a local demo variable which has the contents, this is a local string variable, and sure enough it prints it out. This function then finishes and goes back to here, and you would expect now that we're going to print a variable which should theoretically be not existent, and sure enough it isn't. It's nil. Nil is the same as Python's none, N-O-N-E, and of C#'s null, N-U-L-L. Nil means there is no variable, there's no value, there's nothing there. It's just nil. And so it doesn't cause a crash, it just tells you you've got nil there. And that can be a cause of confusion in Lua, but overall I think that's quite acceptable, that it will print nil. Again, we've got the right enter to quit to stop the thing from disappearing, the console from closing when you're not expecting it. So we will press the enter to quit now, and that will go. Now I've also just made another small change here. I'm going to comment out by using the double minus here. that one and put that one back in. These two lines are almost identical, except we haven't used this local keyword. Now, Lua kind of works the opposite way to Python, in that if you create a variable, as I've just done here, anywhere, it could be inside a function, it can be inside a loop, it could be outside the loop, doesn't matter, and you don't put the word local in front of it, that also is a global variable. So this time when we run this again, because it's now got a value, it will appear down here. So let's save that and we'll run that again. Run with Lua, and again we'll drag this in. If I can find it, there we go. So as before, we've got hello world, then we've got goodbye when we changed it here, and then we've got the local demo variable has been printed out here, and then when the Lua scope demo function finished and it went straight to this line, it printed out local demo variable, which was created here in a global fashion because we took away the word local, and so it's come back again. We've got it again. So this can catch you out, so be careful. Always in Lua use the local keyword. So I'm just going to put that back to what it should be, and then everything works perfectly. Right, let's get rid of that. And finally we're moving on to C#. Now, this is not being written in the integrated development environment, so you can't actually do some of this because it would give you warnings and errors before you even try to compile it. But because we're using script CS, you can kind of get away with it a bit. So what we've done here is we've created a public static string variable. Now this is why I like C#. You're being very precise here. First of all, it's a string variable, so you can't go and store a number in it. Secondly, because this is in the static class, although we haven't got the word class around here, if you're in the IDE, the words public static class would appear. So you just have to accept that for the moment, that this is part of a static class. And the word public here doesn't mean that it's public to this script, because you can call it private and it'll do the same thing. It just means that this would also be visible from another file that was referring to it. So this can be public or private, it doesn't matter, but it is available to the whole of the script in here. So again, we've got a main because you need it, and again we're running this C# demo, and then the next two again stop the console from closing. So in this one we're using console write line instead of print, and we're going to print out the variable which has been set to hello world, and then we're going to change it so that it says goodbye, and then print it out again. Then we're going to create a local variable here, print it out, and then try and print it out down here. I've commented this out because this in the IDE would not even allow you to compile it. So by commenting it out, we can see that that will be out. So this should run. So again, let me just run that in C#. It's compiling. There we are. So we've got exactly the same on as our two previous ones. We've got the console write line here, which gives us hello world. Then we're changing that to goodbye, and we've got goodbye, and then we are printing that out, and then we've got our local one. This is a local string, and then we're printing this one out as well. So it comes up here, this is a local string variable. So everything's working just as we expect. I'll press the key to quit here, and we'll shut that one off. Now I'm now going to uncomment this line here, which is where we're going to try and print to the screen this local variable here, which was actually created inside this function or procedure, so it's therefore should be deleted as soon as it finished. So let's save that and we'll run it. Run with C#. There we are. So we've now got the error here. The name local demo variable does not exist in the current context. So that, of course, is down here. Okay, so I hope that's given you a little bit more understanding of the way that variables are scoped in the three languages. Do download these three of them, have a play, have a fiddle around with the public, private, observe the effects that that has, and you'll understand it more than perhaps you had done before. Okay, that'll be done for today, and we'll see you another time.